The Phoenix Suns could have a gigantic problem. Now, I know the series is tied 2-2 with the Denver Nuggets. I know they just won 2 straight at home, and the series hasn't really started yet because neither team has really won an away game, and that's when the series actually really starts. But in my opinion, the deeper this series goes, the probably worse their chances are, because they won 2 games at home off of the back of Devin Booker and Kevin Durant having 2 unbelievably great games, and DeAndre Ayton just not doing anything. Yeah, I guess he had a better game 4 for sure. Game 3 was absolutely atrocious from him. But overall, if they're going to rely on Devin Booker and Kevin Durant consistently doing what they have done the past 2 games, and hoping to God Nikola Jokic does not keep dropping 50 points as well, that's going to be an issue. And that is a huge issue because say Kevin Durant has an off game, or Devin Booker has an off game, or for God forbid one of them twists an ankle, okay? Their depth is god-awful. To start off, the one reason it's horrible is because they have this atrocity of a human in Cameron Payne. My God, he is the ugliest player in the NBA. Look at him, dude. What the hell is it? Despite having him on your team, I know he's an okay player and everything, but God, he's not fun to look at. Like, every time I see him zoom in on the screen, I just get pissed off. Like, he just has one of those faces that's like, what the hell? Okay, I'm going to stop talking about how ugly Payne is, but just talk about how ugly the depth actually is on this Phoenix Suns roster. As, yes, they have solid players. Like, Cameron Payne is a solid player despite him looking like a donkey. But then you also have guys like TJ Warren. TJ Warren is a solid player for sure. Landry Shamet, he can score at times. He just had one of the best fourth quarters of his entire career, probably the best fourth quarter of his career in the last game in Game 4 where he ended with 17 points, okay? Now, yes, they were leaving him wide open, but still. But to make things a little bit worse, now, yes, all these are solid players, but up until last game, all of these players were struggling very mightily in the playoffs. I mean, look, TJ Warren so far in the playoffs is averaging 2.3 points per game, 0.5 assists per game, 1 rebound per game on 37% shooting from the field. That is awful. Landry Shamet before Game 4 is also struggling unbelievably, averaging 2 points per game, 0.6 assists per game, 0.9 rebounds per game on 22% shooting from the three-point line, and 31.6% from the field. Hence to why they were leaving him wide open in the fourth, and why he ended up having the big fourth, because they were just leaving him wide open. Probably their best bench player and most consistent has been Jock Landale, but unfortunately for him, Jock Landale is no stud. He's just a solid player that's going to give you solid minutes. And then they also have guys like Terence Ross, who actually had a very solid Game 4, but like I said, even up until that point, he was struggling in the playoffs mightily, only averaging 1 point per game on 12.5 3-point percentage and 18% from the field. So before Game 4, all their bench players were struggling a lot, and seeing that was their averages, they're probably going to go back to those averages, especially once they're going back to Denver for Game 5, which does not spell a lot of success for the Phoenix Suns because, like I said, they're heavily relying on not only Nikola Jokic not dropping 50 a game, which he has been destroying them every game, but they're also relying that Devin Booker and Kevin Durant can carry the offense the same way they were able to do in the past 2 games at Phoenix. Put on top of that they're losing their veteran leader in Chris Paul, who, although doesn't score, is a great floor facilitator and is just a great option to have on your team, no matter how old he is and maybe how much he has regressed. He's still a great player to have on the court. They won't have him going into a hostile environment to keep them calm and lead them, and that could be a very, very bad thing, especially as their depth just gets worse and worse, because now with Chris Paul out, you have to start Cameron Payne, meaning their bench is even thinner than it already was. It is an anorexic kid, okay? Like, it's crazy how thin it is. And another huge problem is the fact that the Denver Nuggets are the complete opposite of the Phoenix Suns, meaning that the Denver Nuggets actually have a very solid bench. Now, they only go about 3 deep any given night, assuming foul trouble doesn't become too big of an issue, and at most they'll go 4 deep because they have to bring Andre Drummond in for whatever reason, but that is the deepest they will go, and on average they just go 3 deep, but those 3 players deep that they go are extremely, extremely solid, as their 6th man is Bruce Brown, who's legitimately one of the better players in this series that's not a star. He's averaging 11 points, 2 assists, 3 rebounds on 51% shooting in the playoffs so far. Jeff Green's a very solid veteran that can come in, play his role, defend, rebound, and just shoot the 3 as well. And then also the rookie Christian Braun, he comes in and plays very solid defense at times and can shoot the 3 if he is left open. All 3 of those players play their role, know what to do, and are all very solid, and I would definitely say are all better than anyone off the bench for the Phoenix Suns as well. Maybe you could argue Payne over Braun, and I would give that to you, but that's really the only one that I would give you, and I just think it is a very, very big issue. And another huge issue that this lack of depth, should I say, that the Suns presents is the fact that injuries were a ginormous problem. Chris Paul is already injured, and guys like Kevin Durant and Devin Booker have both had a history of getting hurt in the playoffs and missing a significant time after getting injured, and that is a very scary prospect to say, because if Devin Booker goes down or Kevin Durant goes down, they're not winning this series. There's absolutely zero chance that they win this series. And that should be a very big, very scary problem for anybody that is a Phoenix Suns fan, because due to the lack of depth, they have to play a lot of minutes. The more minutes they play, the more likely they are to get injured. Chris Paul's already injured, so they're even more susceptible to injury, and it just snowballs on top of each other, and it can get very bad very quickly if just the slightest thing goes wrong for the Suns. So on top of them going into a hostile environment without their leader in Chris Paul, on top of them already having a very bad depth chart, on top of the Denver Nuggets having a very good depth chart, they have a lot of things stacked against them besides having the best players in the series. And really, they're probably not. They have the second and third best player in the series. So overall, I think the Nuggets probably will end up edging them out because of this huge problem that Phoenix is facing. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if Booker and Kevin Durant can't keep it going for how good they're playing as well. So I just think overall it's going to be a very entertaining series. But I think due to the huge problem they have with the lack of depth, I think that could definitely become the Phoenix Suns' downfall. But unfortunately, guys, that's the move for this video. So comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think the Suns have a huge problem? Do you think they need to address that in the offseason? On your thoughts in the comment section below. If you have any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. Mean the absolute word to me. And I hope you have a blessed day. Can I have a blessed day? So you need a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.